I know tomorrow it is Easter. We had a lot of things to focus on this morning. So that means tomorrow markets might actually go on a break. So business might, I'm saying might, go on a break depending. So this is that part of the business where we focus on what should you know, what should you follow, what is important this week, what should we be looking forward to from headlines this week. Therefore, today, from the first part of the show, Dr. Andrew still in the studio.
Thank you.
Happy to have you.
Thank you.
Bonahab, have you taken your coffee? You're
Yes,
the only
yes.
person.
I'm okay. I had a lot of coffee.
As we were waiting.
Yes.
All right, now, this is a headline that has touched many Kenyans.
Yes.
The relevant parties protested when it was designed, it went to parliament, it was passed. Now that it was pushed officially to the Kenyans' domain, the public outcry came out. The 1.5 levy, affordable housing. Let's start from a very basic level. Let's go back to the big four agenda. One of them is affordable housing. But Abraham, do you think this government, when it talks about the things it should focus on, that the affordable housing should be there, should it be different? Should it be the way it is? Do you think affordable housing should be among the big four agenda? Let's question it from that.
Thank you. I think housing is critical. However, we have first to ask ourselves, what is affordable housing? In the context of our economy. Because what is affordable in Kenya is not affordable, is not affordable in another country.
Yes.
So we must contextualize that. So we have to agree to a number that affordable housing means a house that does not exceed X amount. That has not been defined, even as we speak.
Yes.
Secondly, if you look at the average mortgage now, is at about 10.9 million. So clearly, and you only talk about 27,000 mortgages.
Yes.
So clearly, those ones who are in the upper segment are more or less sorting themselves out.
Yes.
But now coming back to this affordable housing issue, we also want to ask ourselves, with the levels of income that people are at, is housing the number one priority now?
Yes.
Because if you look at the countries that have done very well, like Singapore, with about 90% home ownership ratio,
Yes.
when they were starting, they've consistently increased their house ownership as they increased the wealth and the GDP of their country. So it was, those two have to go hand in hand. Because remember, the lower, if you're in the lower levels of income, your needs are very different. Housing, shelter, food, clothing.
Yes.
You must clear that first.
Yes.
Before you move to the next level.
Yes.
So the question is, have we done that?
Have we done that?
Yes.
Dr. Andrew, even as Abraham comes in and says, have we cleared our basic level first before we talk about housing and sort of defining now differently affordable housing? Do you feel that affordable housing is next level of the basic shelter definition of where our economy could be put?
You know, we've talked about the pricing of the basic commodity, flour, maize flour,
Yes.
before. And that forms a part of food, right?
Yes.
That has not been achieved yet. And we talked about the irrigation schemes and things like those that need to be worked on. However, I need to look at housing as also one of the basic needs. He has said it. We have at least 3 basic needs that we have to fulfill. Now, housing, yes, is a basic need. But what structure do we put in place, or structures do we put in place to have Kenyans or the citizens access this affordable housing and this shelter that we are talking about? Actually, looking at the statements framed by the CS for finance, he has quoted Ethiopia. Ethiopia is way far. I mean, you cannot copy something because other people are doing it.
People do it.
The issue is, do we need it? Have we had other things that are more basic? And what is the structure really?
Yes.
If that is really addressed, I don't think Kenyans will have a problem.
Yes. So I'm going to come to you and ask you this question, therefore. People feel like the government needs help from them to fulfill this. But at the same time, they have not been given an option out. Therefore, when you look at the 1.5 levy on affordable housing, how should have the government, yes, because we know we need to support it and they had to come back to us, how should have the government sort of approach this so that Kenyans don't feel, look, I have NSSF, I have NHIF, I have this, I have pay, and then there's this tax. How should we define it differently? So now Kenyans don't feel like, how should have they define it differently? So now Kenyans don't feel like, additional tax again.
Yes.
Yes. What sort of approach should they have given it?
You see, I think the first thing, it should have been voluntary. That is number one.
Yes.
Because if I feel I want to own a home, then I opt in.
Yes.
But I think the better way to do this is for the government to enable the market to generate homes from the private sector. And how do we do that? Bring down the cost of putting up houses.
Yes.
Improve the process of approvals, so that way people people tend to vote with their money. So if you bring it down low enough, then people will say, yeah, I can do this on my own. Because the way government wants to do it by themselves, practically, even if we had the money today, we will not be able to do those 500,000 number houses.
Yes.
Secondly, Kenya has more than 500,000 households. We're talking about probably 10 million households.
Yes.
So the question is, what about the rest? So we probably need for government needs to recede back to just policy making.
Yes.
And enable private sector to do their thing.
Yes.
So that now that we were able to generate more houses faster.
Yes.
Yes.
But Andrew, I know we have a feeling about this issue. I want you, therefore, to find the perfect meaning for an affordable house in Kenya. What is an affordable house in Kenya? When you do know, the numbers stand at 27,000 mortgages.
Yes.
Imagine for the whole country, isn't it? Just 90% are into renting, just 10%. But out of this 10%, we're talking about 27,000 mortgages. So I want you and me to find the perfect definition of housing, affordable housing in Kenya.
Okay. Before I address that, Simba, I want to first indicate that for you to achieve anything, involve the people for which this project is intended. And by involvement, I mean public participation. And by the way, it works perfectly. I know the government has defended itself by saying, we are going to target even the rich so that but you see, it's not discriminatory because it's at a percentage.
Yes.
So if this public participation was well done, then even the rich actually would even pay more.
Yes.
Actually, my advice this morning for the government is, if this process was brought back for public participation so that the citizens own it, once they own it completely, then even the richer can pay even more and even help the government raise more money to sustain this project.
Yes.
Back to your question about
affordable
housing.
What is this word? Let's
that
break
is
it down.
really, really relative,
Yes.
in my view. For example, if you tell me 600,000 shillings for a house, for example, there's no house that is going to cost 600,000, of course,
Yes.
right? All of them are above probably 1.5 million.
Yes.
So, but 600,000 still is way above what people can afford. There are people earn even up to 15,000, 12,000.
Yes.
Of course, looking at the minimum wage. So for them to be able to really, finance or rather, service a mortgage for more than 15 years, it is a tall order. So affordable housing needs to be defined from the policy level. Otherwise, 600,000, which you and I can look at and say it's affordable for a house, may not be affordable for someone who earns 15,000
Yes.
a month.
Quick Kenyans went exactly, and I want you to tell me whether they did it right or wrong. I'll be coming to you.
Yeah.
Because I know you see something positive out of it. That's why we should not cry so much.
Yeah.
Quick Kenyans went and said 3 million Kenyans, all right, against 500,000 houses. And then 43 months left in their tenure. That means it is 11,627 homes need to be delivered each month. Okay, let's break it further. They went and said this is 388 houses per day. That's what they said. Good. And then when you look at the contributions of 1.5%, is the government basing this on luck? Or now once we've broken down the numbers, we've said, what are they telling us? Is it okay for us to go and look at the numbers, sort of break it down and then start asking a question from there? Or should we say, that was delivery, they've said it?
You see, first of all, there'll be Kenya beyond 2022.
Yes.
So I don't see what the rush is about.
Yes.
Let's just get this right. Let's have a model that can live for 10, a sustainable model. Because Kenya will be here when all of us are gone. So we should not compress this to 2022. It's not a 2022 issue. This is about Kenyans owning homes. Number two, most Kenyans who don't own homes are renting a house. Now, that means they can afford the rent. What if we reverse engineer that so that their mortgage is what they pay for rent? That in one instance will solve that problem.
Yes.
Because if I pay 4,000 for my house every month to a landlord, then you come up with a mortgage and tell me you'll be charging me 4,000 or 3,900.
Yes.
For me to own a home in 30 years.
Yes.
I'm no problem. You see, and if you go backwards, we used to have the tenant purchase. City Council used to have that. In fact, my own father bought one house like that.
Yes.
So those are some of the models that are still useful. Yes, they can be looked at, they can be worked. But let's stop creating a rush, number one.
Yes.
And let's reverse engineer this thing. Let's start from the end and come back. Instead of going into oblivion and not knowing where we're going.
Yes. Doctor, you rely on stats, you're a numbers person, you're a facts person. Yes. All of us don't know that. When you look at this issue and see what quick minds in Kenya have done, they've said, look, does it make sense to tell a Kenyan to wait for 30 years to own a house? Okay? And is it okay for us to look at the math? Because if I am contributing, in fact, they say, if you have forced me, you've made it mandatory for me to contribute, all right? There's nothing voluntary. You've just put that there's a clause. Yes, but if you also want to further contribute more than this, then you can.
You can.
But look at the other Kenyans who've been told you have to contribute. So when you look at this math and say it's 30 years, it's for some of them it's going to be 111 years out of the math. Let's talk numbers. Every policy should come from a pragmatic level.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Should they look at these numbers and say, that's why we are fighting it? It doesn't make sense. I am paying a house right now that I live in. I am contributing for a house that I have to wait for 30 years. That's like twice the number of time that I have to wait to own a house. Should we fight it from the statistics?
In my view, first of all, I want to make a comment from what my brother said. He talked about tenant purchase.
Yes.
I know government has said that for those earning below 50,000 shillings a month, then they are going to be reverted to tenant purchase.
Yes.
But the modalities of doing it, lottery.
It's like a lottery.
Lottery,
Yes.
honestly.
Yes.
Lottery. How many people do you know that have won a lottery? You know, that makes it out of reach,
Yes.
technically. Would I be contributing something to finance the government? You know, yes, I'm saving, right? Because it's really not a tax per se. That is one area I do not agree with Kenyans.
Yes.
This is not tax.
But when you have been told
Yes.
that yes, you have to contribute starting May.
Okay, the definition of tax
Yes.
is that it's money that is going to finance government projects and it's never coming back.
Yes.
That is tax. Okay? The same way, like if you commit a mistake and you're fined, it's a fine that goes and never comes back.
Yes.
So this is not tax. Let's first agree on that.
I just want to
Yes.
hold on now.
Yes.
I just want to throw it to you, Bwana Abraham. Do you feel like this is a different way of defining tax from the government? Are we dancing around this issue of tax and calling it something different?
I really don't think so. I think even the money will revert to you, it cannot be a tax.
Yes.
That's number one. But I think the communication was
Yes.
poor.
Exactly.
The communication is poor.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the fact that it's mandatory, Kenyans tend to fight anything that is mandatory.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think any human being will.
Yes.
Because you need to feel that I have a choice of opting out.
Yes.
So it's not a tax. I agree with my brother completely. It's not a tax. But again, it's forced saving with the person who's forced you determining the date you can take it out.
Now that's the way Kenyans are coming out now, isn't it? It's forced saving, isn't it?
Yeah.
let's get back to whatever it is you're saying, therefore.
Yes.
What should we look into this, therefore? Number one, it's not tax, good, but it's 4/7. Let's
Yes.
black and white.
Good.
It is it's 4/7. So why should you, therefore, when you look at the statistics of forcing me to save and get something that probably I don't feel like I need, all right? Should we fight it from a statistical level and say, good, if you're going to force me to save, there are other markets. Talk about bonds, talk about stocks, talk about, can you give us shares in these public companies, all right? So that now we can get something out of it. Because does it accrue interest?
Good. Now, I want to mention something that somebody sent. I don't know whether you are reading the same, same message. Somebody actually just sent something, and I think it's fair if I read it out.
Yes.
A layman's mind, or the thinking.
Yes.
A civil servant who earns 20K per month and contributes 1.5 of his salary to the housing fund levy will be saving 300 shillings per month. With the hope of owning a home, that's 3,600 saved per year. All right? Assuming the targeted house is worth 2 million shillings.
Yes.
Then one has to save 555 months, 46 years. If you're 35, then you will fully own a house at 81. Okay?
Statistics are getting broken, isn't it?
So the thinking is really, like we zero into rather the communication part. Civic education has not been conducted enough, because if with such an argument, then somebody does not remember that we have a family, a household. When you own a house, it's not you per se who may finally end up in it, but you have a family to take care of too. So yes, they will buy their own, but you see, when you leave, God forbid, then you leave them in safe hands. They're in good shelter. So if that thinking really, the explanations are offered and they are, they don't need to be in black and white, but they come out clearly.
Yes.
Then guys are going to feel confident and own this project, so that the government, yes, the success of the government is the success of its citizens. So other than us fighting it, let the government really go back to the drawing board and really do it right, get it right. This is a good project by all means. So that at the end of the day, once we own it, then we can support it with all our might.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to take you back to what you said at first. If 90% of the people in this country are renters, all right? And we know the percentage that is left, the 10% is not even taking up mortgages as well, isn't it? Some of them are house owners, and some of them are already in the process of owning a home. Now, how does it feel, therefore, all right, for you now to force somebody who owns a house, is in the process of owning a house, therefore, to start paying for another house, when this so-called future that he wants to secure for himself in terms of being a homeowner is already taken care of, or is already in the process of being taken care of? And then now you tell this person, wait for 15 years, you can get this money that we're asking from you now. Under what legal or constitutional offering do you save somebody, do you force somebody who you've not known their plans are to give you money in this government?
Put it the way you've put it, I think that would not stand legality.
Yes.
I think it's unfair and it will not stand.
Yes.
However, if, in my opinion, it would only fly if that money being collected is being used to put up public goods for infrastructure for housing. What do I mean? If we are creating cities, let's say, if this money is used to do the public infrastructure within those cities, lighting, roads, pathways, sewage, then you'd be justified even for the guy who owns the house to pay. The same way I'll pay NHIF and I have medical cover.
Yes.
Why? Because I'm saying, as much as I have medical cover, I don't mind paying for someone else who is in hinterland to get.
Yes.
So it would only work in that sense, where government stays in its space of putting up public goods. But if it is the way it is now, then how fair is that? How can I pay for something I'm not going to get?
Yes.
Or I'm not interested in? So I'm saying, so we really need to look at even the legality of it, and that is coming. Maybe when this case is being heard,
yes,
some of these issues are going to pop up.
Yes.
Yeah, how fair is this thing? But if the government just turned it around and said, no, this money, we will use it mostly for the public good, then we'll all contribute very well. Because we know we are putting up cities all over the place. So if we put up the infrastructure, then now you guys can come and build your houses.
Yes. Let's look at some of the issues that Kenyans are looking at and crying out loud. It came out yesterday that for you, if you're convicted of misusing this house levy, the 1.5%, you are only taken in for 2 years, or you pay 10,000 fine.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, this is a national policy that sort of performs within a government. This is how the government wants to perform. But then you have a government that is now being foot of not having the right measures to fight corruption. And so when this now comes to the domain of Kenyans, what do you expect us to think?
My thinking is that, Simba, when you look at the aspect of fine, you know, a fine is meant to prohibit some things from happening.
Yes.
Like mismanagement.
Yes.
So I think on that part, the government failed. And, you know, there's room for improvement. They can always restructure that. Because when you say that you're going to do 10,000, it means if somebody wants to, you know, beat the logic of the lottery that is being proposed and allocate the rich individuals in the hope of reselling, you know, or re-renting it, then it means they're going to go scot-free. Who cannot pay 10,000? Actually,
or just go in for 2 years.
Even somebody that earns,
Yes.
you know, 10,000 shillings can afford 10,000
Afford 10,000 shillings fine.
For me, that is a failure, and it needs to be relooked.
It needs to be looked into.
Yes.
Just coming to you as well, as we run out of time. I'm getting told that we have only 3 minutes left.
Okay.
Is it clear to every Kenyan right now that yes, Simba Kiage, should you start paying? We expect, or we hope, that the day, we definitely maybe hope that the date is going to change as from 9th of May. Well, Simba, after 30 years, or after 15 years, let's put at 46 years, you are definitely going to get this house. Is it clear to every Kenyan that once they start doing this, that they'll get their houses? And when you look at this time span, all right, how am I getting motivated to pay this when, number one, I don't know the model of the house that I'm getting. Number two, I don't know where this house is. Are these some of the issues that should have been black and white before pushing this to Kenyans?
Yeah, precisely. And that's what I was telling you. To sell something, get to the end of it.
Yes.
Tell them there'll be a 3-bedroom house. It'll be in this place.
Yes.
It will look like this. So that there's certainty. You see, right now, you're dealing with unknowns. One of those unknowns being that whether you'll be alive or dead by that time. You see?
Yes.
So let them at least know there's a house at the end of it, at the end of that tunnel. And what that house looks like.
Yes.
And that house will benefit him and other people.
Yes.
So as you're saying, there's a big gap in communication. Because as Kenyans, most Kenyans out there know they have 1.5% more to pay.
Yes.
In fact, for them, pay it, and they don't even know what exactly.
They don't even know what exactly
it's a housing levy. What is it supposed to do?
Yes, what it's supposed to do.
It's not clear.
Yes.
So that communication needs to come out very, very clearly. But,
Yes.
but behind the scenes, at the policy level, this whole thing has to be rethought.
Has to be
It's
rethought.
completely reworked.
Has to be rethought. I want to get back to you,
Yes.
Dr. Andrew, as we close this conversation.
Yep.
Let's start capping it.
Okay.
Well, Abraham, I'm going to get back to you now. let's cap it.
Okay.
Let's look at our economy. The Big Four agenda talks about food security. I know you have your comments on that. Then after that, we have affordable housing. Can you tell me, do we will need affordable housing in this country, or is it something that we should think about later once we've achieved the rest?
For me, yes, it's a good thing. We need it.
Yes.
But first of all, let's achieve the basic thing. Food. Food. We
Yes.
cannot all the time be crying that prices of products, food products have gone high. We cannot all the time say that drought has affected us. The government needs to really look into this and ensure that first food security is achieved.
Yes.
Actually, when you rank, for me, if you rank to the Big Four agenda items, I would first go for food security, then go for health, before other things come.
Yes.
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 But Abraham, we do know that the government is in the process of rolling out the universal health care. A lot of debate around that with the Cuban doctors involved. I know we spoke about this yesterday. But when you look at what we're talking about right now, the 1.5 levy on affordable housing, do we really need it? And if we don't, what do we need now?
I agree with him. You see, for you to own the house, you have to be fed and you have to be healthy.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll not be around to see that house.
Yes.
So those two have to come in.
Yes.
With agriculture, I think we have to move away from rain-fed agriculture.
Yes.
I mean, we've talked about it. Let's do something about it.
Yes.
Because if Israel does not get rain, but they are self-sufficient in food.
Yes.
Then coming to health, same thing. Let's sort out our health. If those two are done, somebody who is well-fed and healthy
Yes.
is even less irritable. And they'll take in these things much easier.
Yes.
But people now are wondering, you're giving me a house. I'll be in a house unhealthy and starving. What's the use?
True.
Oh, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate.
Thank
I
you.
want to think that now that this case has been, the brakes have been put into this Finance Act, that the government is going to sit back, draw a working plan that every Kenyan is going to read through and know this is exactly what I expect, isn't it? The good things are already in it.
Yes.
But you are saying maybe not, maybe yes.
Yeah.
Let's step back and look at other issues.
Good.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Most welcome.
Thank you very much. Business ends right now. We take a break.